Excellent. And so now we have Simon Watts and Christchurch Coastal Residents United. Simon. And you have a presentation for us as well. And Tim Sinters. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello?
Yes,
is that working?
Yep.
Councillors, Mayor, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you. Plan is 6 or 7 minutes to leave 3 or 4 minutes for questions. I'm going to talk to you about 2 things. The first, please take in the spirit of friendly feedback. The second is the key thing that I want to talk about. Where's my mouse gone?
You've already got Yanni on board.
Okay, so this document, we're here to talk about this annual plan, and I suppose I had a bit of thinking, what would I expect from a document of Christchurch City Council? And this is just my guess. I would guess they will be compliant to various procedures set by legislation or regulation. I guess they will be factually correct. I guess they will comply with your own accounting and audit QA procedures. And I guess they will be accessible and legible to councillors and to external others. So, yep, very nice contents and nice financial overview. So it's all good. Where's my mouse gone? There is a mouse here somewhere, that's it. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe let's look in a bit more detail. And so I chose flood protection and control works, and I thought I'd drill down. And I ended up with this. And here, as a community group, what we're interested in is actually to get details so we understand what's going on, because we're not that involved. And this is certainly, it's officer focused, yes, but I didn't see very much community focus, but I thought, well, maybe why should I? I don't live and breathe it. So I went to the website, I typed in, I did this for 5 different things, but I'm just using one example, and out-crunched 1882 documents on this, and I spent about 20 minutes trying to find out what this budget head actually was.
So you took that long to find out that our search engine doesn't work very well.
Correct.
We know.
So
I know hyperlinks are the answer.
That's exactly what I'm going to suggest. So basically, if I go through, I won't cause any embarrassment, and clearly it's an open secret, but it was new to me to discover. I won't ask councillors here to show who sort of can find this information in detail, but as an external community person, I found it very difficult. And so really just feedback, and I love the suggestion that just came from the left. I've suggested, can we have web links on the documents to take us to the right place? Unfortunately, as you're aware, I think at your website, inadvertently with your search function, has the ability to conceal information because it's so much other detailed information there. And I suppose the important thing here is the future for all of us is closer collaboration and closer work between communities and council. Therefore, we're going to need more effective information exchange, and this is, as I say, a friendly feedback, which sounds like you already know about. Okay.
It's actually easier to find it if you Google it. I know, but it is.
Okay, for my second part, which is identifying what's missing in this plan, I'm really reminding you all of the document that went to Regenerate in February, and the council also received a copy, which was the CCRU pre-adaptation strategy for South Shore and South New Brighton. I'm going to talk to these 4 points, and then we can have questions. Nobody needs reminding about the earthquake sequence, nor that the impact was most severe in the east. This means, given the very low well-being in this part of the city, the capacity for communities to cope with stress has been overestimated. Stress is made worse by uncertainty and made worse by actually non-communication. The March atrocity, which I also won't talk about, although I'm very grateful to how the council reacted to that, actually has an impact here on already stressed communities. We're suggesting pre-adaptation needs to come before adaptation. What does that mean? It means repair of community and social capacity. It means physical repair where feasible. The repair of earthquake damage is required to allow communities to move to adaptation, which we need to do. Using strict economic criteria alone and ignoring social impacts increases the risk and leaves assets to degrade. Moving on from pre-adaptation to adaptation, the previous speaker talked quite a lot about mitigation. I'm only going to talk about adaptation. For us, sea level rise and flooding is an issue for our city, including the east. Our focus on adaptation needs to be the next 1 to 2 human lifetimes only, not the next 1,500 years or 2,000 years. What we have to do has to be economically sensible. If we adapt optimally, we reduce the risk and lower the cost, and optimal adaptation cost-benefit ratio is 1 to 9 about. There's no references here. They're all in the report of 20 pages that you have. I just didn't want to clutter up the slides. The recommendations of that report were about repairing earthquake damage and improving social well-being and resilience of these two communities. In summary, the recommendations were to repair the damaged estuary edge in South Shore and make decisions about areas of South Brighton, to reconnect the suburbs of New Brighton to the city and the Otakara Avon River corridor with an estuary side cycle walking track with hybrid ecosystem protection. And also there are questions about the adaptation research and mandate. I am aware of some of the issues with Regenerate, which is why I'm assuming why I don't see many of these things in the annual plan, because of the history. In summary, I always find big letters help. Assessment, repairs, then adaptation. I don't know how I did on time, but I think we've got some time left over.
We do. Look, I'm really appreciative of the submission that you've made, and also for all of the detail that sits in behind it. But can you flick back your slides, because I just want to. Where
do you want to go?
Here.
Oh,
so
there.
Do you want to just talk through the optimum adaptation cost-benefit ratio, just in general terms?
Yes. Okay, so if we maladapt, if we adapt badly, and the way I think about this in terms of communities is if communities leave too soon or stay too long, that not only costs more, and I don't mean the dollars for properties and houses, I mean the well-being, health damage, the budgets that get hit are central, regional, as well as local. So optimality is really key. This data comes from a European Union study, and the main report has all the references in it.
Yeah.
And it's about community and council actually discussing and developing these things together, so that we're talking about trigger points, we're talking about how that affects communities, and we're talking about education both ways. The study that this comes from is a believe I might be wrong, I think it's a Dutch study where actually the Dutch are used to being resisting water. They decided there were places where water should come in, and so they gathered a community and talked about that. And there were other places where they decided, no, water can't come in there. Now, in terms of the detail, there is a load of detail, and I can send you the report if you wish it. But it's about a process. And in New Zealand, we haven't got there yet. Hawke's Bay is lauded, but it is probably wouldn't be recognisable. I know I don't want to offend any of my colleagues. It wouldn't be recognisable internationally as a consensual adaptation process. And to get that 1 to 9 to be effective, there has to be consensual in there. Not that everybody will agree.
No.
But
you're not looking at consensus, you're looking at
consensual. That's right, which is different.
Yeah, it is different.
And there are particular problems here that maybe are going to be worse because of the local government. Sounds awful, but local government involvement is necessary and vital, but in other places the funding is central government, and that's a bit different here. That's going to make it a lot more tricky, which means the communication and working together is going to have to be much stronger.
Yeah.
Something we probably don't recognise at the moment, that we've probably never seen it before.
Yeah. No, look, I'll take Sarah, and then I'm afraid that's...
Thanks so much for that. I really like the 20-page document, the pre-adaptation strategy, but we've got some other drivers for the adaptation stuff. So we've got an order in council directing us to do the coastal hazards chapter of our district plan and a range of those other things. The current strategy is for doing the pre-adaptation first and then discussing adaptation.
Yes, I agree.
Is there a possibility of us being able to find a way to do both at the same time? Because there are time frames involved for both. So the planning and the implementation of the earthquake repairs and that damaged stuff and the cycleway and those kind of things takes a bit of time. And so does the coastal hazards chapter of the district plan. If there was a firm commitment to make sure the earthquake stuff was done at the same time as starting those other things, it seems to me that we could maybe move in that direction, not ideally, but we do have some external drivers on the other one that need to happen.
Understand your question, and in your position I would probably be asking the same question.
Yeah.
The issue here is for the adaptation to be effective, you need the communities on board. And at the moment, my view is, and what people tell me, is they are not on board because of the worry and the stress of stuff that's happening, the repair of damage and things like that.
Or not happening.
Therefore, I suspect maybe some tweaking, but it's probably going to have to happen in order.
Yeah.
And I know that's inconvenient. I think there has to be an order because these communities have no mud at anybody in particular. There's been much consultation, many, I won't say promises, but
there've been council resolutions
and
and
expectations.
It keeps falling over. And I think to get good engagement, we're going to have, something has to be there on the ground first.
So we have this particular community who have really struggled with that work and who have been let down. But we also have an enormous coastline, including all of Banks Peninsula and other areas, who are probably ready for that adaptation conversation.
Well, they could have it.
Yeah. But if we're doing that in context of a district planning thing, it would need to involve everyone. Do you see? There's a small pocket of the whole city who has been let down and is a bit stuck due to the earthquake stuff. But we have a responsibility for a much broader area when it comes to coastal hazards.
Could I posit another suggestion, because we're over time, but that might enable a kind of a yes answer to be given. Is it actually that the work has to be done, or that the decisions are made that the work are going to be done before, that we move into the adaptation realm, because I totally get the pre-adaptation work that needs to be done first.
Right, this is a personal response.
Yeah.
Yes, the decisions definitely have to be made, and maybe something started on the ground.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, that does help. I mean, look, my colleagues hate me every time I say the word resilience, but my other favourite word is co-creation, and I think the concept co-creation. It's a bit late for me. But I'm thinking that in the co-creation space, that's actually what you're talking about.
And the communities would very, very much welcome co-creation in terms of the coastal hazard chapter and onward beyond that process and detail.
All right. Well, look, thank you very much, Simon. It's just an incredible amount. I know a little bit about your background, so I know that you come from a very good background in terms of your involvement with the Office of the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, and it really does show in the extent of the work that's gone into this submission on behalf of
Blame Jan Wright.
Yeah. Yes, I will, babe.
Anyway, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So I told you that you were going to smile. Now we've got. I think we'll just take a 10-minute break. Look, we're just going to take a quick break.